WampServer is a free open source distribution that includes the Apache HTTP server, the MySQL database server, and PHP. You can download the most recent version of WampServer from www.wampserver.com. The website's homepage is in French. To go to the English version, add /en at the end of the URL. From this homepage, click the Downloads link, and then download the installer executable. As of this date, the most recent version of WampServer is version 2.0i. Notice the versions of the individual software packages that are included: Apache 2.2.11, PHP 5.3.0, MySQL 5.1.36, and PHP MyAdmin, a web-based interface for managing your MySQL databases. After you install the executable, you can start it up. If you're working on Windows Vista or Windows 7, I recommend starting it as the administrator. Right-click on the executable and choose Run as Administrator. And then, if prompted by a User Account Control dialog, click Yes. On the initial screen of the WampServer Setup Wizard, click Next. Review the license agreement, which is based on the GNU General Public License, and then if you agree to its terms, click the appropriate radio button and click Next. On this screen, you're asked where you want to install WampServer. The default location is c:\wamp. You can install it anywhere on disk, but I'm going to accept the default location, and if you want your paths to match mine throughout this video series, you should do the same. I'll click Next, and then on this screen, I'm asked whether I want to use a quick launch icon and a desktop icon. I'll select Create a Desktop Icon. That will create a shortcut on my Windows desktop, which will let me start up WampServer a lot more easily. And then I'll click Next. After reviewing all of your installation options, click Install. All of the files for Apache, MySQL, and PHP are copied to your hard disk. After the copying process is complete, you'll see a Browse dialog open. Notice the prompt, please choose your default browser. You're being asked to choose a web browser that will be used to view the WampServer homepage, PHP MyAdmin, and other web-based assets. You can choose whichever browser you prefer. I typically use Firefox, so I'll navigate to the C drive, and from there to my Program Files x86 folder. If you're doing the same and you're working with a 32-bit version of Windows, just choose c:\program files. From there, navigate to Mozilla Firefox, drill into that directory, and then double-click on firefox.exe. On the next screen, you're asked for PHP mail parameters. The SMTP server option lets you designate a URL for an SMTP server. That's the server that processes emails sent from your PHP application server. If you don't have an SMTP server, just leave that option blank for now. The email address is the administrative email registered in your Apache HTTP server. You don't have to enter your email address here for the purpose of this video series. Just accept the default setting and click Next. On this final screen, you're asked whether you want to launch WampServer immediately. Keep the option selected and click Finish. Take a look in your system tray area. You should see a new icon appear, and the icon should appear as a white gauge with a little needle that's pushed all the way over to the right. And if you move the cursor over that icon, you should see a tooltip help bubble that says WampServer Server Offline. To test your installation, click on the icon, and from there go to Localhost. That will open the browser and show you the WampServer home page. Notice the URL is http://localhost. If you have any troubles getting this started, make sure that you don't have any other copies of Apache or of MySQL running on your computer. If you do have those copies, disable or uninstall them. To restart WampServer at a later time, here's what you need to do. I'll close the browser. I'll go down to my system tray. I'll right-click on the icon and select Exit, That shuts down my MySQL and Apache servers and shuts down the WampServer system tray icon. To restart WampServer at any point, you can use the desktop icon that was created during the installation, or you can go to the WampServer item which will be in your menu. If you're working on Windows Vista or Windows 7, just open your Start menu and type WAMP, and you'll get to the menu choice Start WampServer. Each time you start WampServer, you might be prompted with a User Account Control dialog. Click Yes, and you should see the server starting up in the system tray.